Good morning, everyone, and happy first day of Hanukkah to my Jewish followers. Interestingly, the first day of Hanukkah always reminds me of a great quote by Anita Diamant, where she says, "This is the season when people of all faiths and cultures are pushing back against the planetary darkness. We string bulbs, ignite bonfires, light candles, and we sing." So, again, just another year where we seem to be needing that more than ever. COVID is running rampant in China, obviously the war in Ukraine. So continue to push back against the darkness, just like everyone. I celebrate Christmas in my house, but also my wife being pagan, we have pagan traditions as well. Every year I go grab a Yule log with her. It's kind of our way of going up and getting a Christmas tree, but rather than cutting a tree down, we just get a log that's naturally fallen usually and bring it back, and she puts oils on various herbs and things on it in her tradition. So we kind of blend our traditions together, even though Christmas is already a blended tradition, obviously, taking some from multiple religions. However, just regardless of what your religion is, it seems like this is the time of the year where hopefully you're experiencing joy, and hopefully, as the Goo Goo Dolls say, Christmas brings better days for you. So anyways, moving on to what I was going to talk about today. There was a large explosion, obviously, in Siberia of an oil field. And there's a lot of speculation right now of what could be potentially the cause. Could it be potentially some sort of sabotage? Could it be some sort of attack by the Ukrainian military? They show videos where workers are running away yelling, "The plant's exploded, get out of here." Russia put out a statement that the fire is out already, but satellite imagery clearly shows that it's not. So what could potentially be going on? Well, the location of this explosion is likely out of the range and of any kind of conventional military. Well, it definitely is out of the range of any conventional military from Ukraine. I'm not saying that it wasn't sabotage, because that's entirely possible. It's a very remote but kind of critical node for jet fuel in Russia. And the reason this fire and explosion spread so rapidly was because of the jet fuel. Jet fuel is quite volatile, obviously. So the thought process is, well, because it's jet fuel, maybe it was some sort of sabotage, and I'm not ruling that out. However, there is another side to this, and Peter Zeihan pointed out that it more than likely was probably just a general failure. So here's the reasoning behind that. Russia, yes, is an oil-producing nation. It produces natural gas as well, but if you understand the nature of how oil drills and refines its fossil fuel products, you understand that it's mostly Western companies that are doing it, whether it's BP, Shell, Schlumberger, some of the other bigger oil companies. They're all escaping me for some reason right now, but they all closed their joint ventures in Russia. So they basically left them and said, "They're yours, Russia," ExxonMobil being another one. And because of that, all of the proprietary knowledge of how to run these things is leaving that country. And Russia could probably limp along for a while, but we're starting to get to a point where, as the seasons change and as manufacturing breaks down, as things that are critical, such as new parts, become harder to acquire for Russia, you're going to see failures in their industry, whether it's in their vehicles, their aircraft, their tech, and in their energy infrastructure, because energy is a very knowledge-intensive endeavor. It's not just drill it out of the ground and refine it and then suddenly you're pumping it in the gas. It takes armies of engineers, scientists, chemists to make this all work. And with Russia having this exodus of their intelligentsia, their engineers, those that are smart enough and wealthy enough to depart the country, whether because out of fear of being drafted or out of a general distaste of what Russia's doing, between 500,000 and 1 million educated Russians have left Russia. And it's easy to say, obviously, these would have come somewhat from the energy sector, not just tech, not just from auto manufacturing or others. The energy sector has some highly intelligent people working for it. Well, couple that with the fact that the really, really intelligent people that were working on these were already likely not Russians. They were likely coming out of the US, out of Europe, out of Canada, Japan on the eastern side. And they worked for things like Shell, BP, Exxon, Schlumberger, Halliburton as a contractor. All of them left. All of them left Russia. And Russia was left to try to figure it out on its own. And it just can't do it. So was this potentially sabotage? Maybe. But we may start seeing more of these failures come as Russia struggles mightily to manufacture the parts necessary or acquire them through black markets. And then not only do that, but run the facilities internally by themselves. And a lot of experts are just saying Russia at this point doesn't have the baseline of education and engineering skills to do so. So something to think about as we potentially start to see more failures across industry in Russia. It might not necessarily be some sort of attack from Ukraine or sabotage, something of that nature. It could be just the natural failures of a country who has relied heavily on commodity exports and paying the more intelligent Western partners out of US, Canada, Europe, etc., to run their stuff for them. And when the biggest oil companies in the world, to include Total out of France and other, pretty much everyone in the Western world has left. When those companies leave, Russia's kind of holding the problem right now. And there's nothing they can do about it, at least in the short term. So just some thoughts on that. And going forward, I hope everyone has a good rest of your day.